This is the first time that I've been back to New Haven in almost 30 years. But it's arguable that in terms of my professional career, I found my sense of direction inside the walls of this institution. Essentially, there are two reasons. One, I had no choice. It was very early in my tenure at UNH that it was becoming decidedly clear that I was not going to be a professional hockey player in the National Hockey League. But second, and most important, is I was blessed to have a teacher at UNH who took the time and showed the caring to provide the signposts that inspired me to find a sense of direction. Now, sport has been a major part of my life since I was 6 years old. There is no question that the values I learned as an athlete are a major contributor to who I am today. And I've been involved in professional sports now for almost 30 years. And over this period, I began to notice a decided change in the landscape between the values that were instilled in me by sport and the values that were being instilled in our athletes today. But while playing for local community teams, there was nothing wrong with every player dreaming the dream, even if we were ignorant of the fact that it was pure fantasy. For while we might have been living in a dream world, something far more important was happening in the real world. Playing with essentially the same players as we rose through the ranks together against the same competition from our towns and immediate area, we were forming relationships and learning valuable lessons that would last a lifetime. Today's young athletes and their parents are now the gullible victims of the age of specialization and elitism that has essentially destroyed sport and its meaning at the local level. More than any other time in our country's history, I believe sports is at a crossroads. Will it be an institution whose values are worthy of transcendence and adoption by a broader society, or will it be an institution whose values are unworthy of higher ideals and must be isolated from the broader societal plane? I would like to cite one of the most inspirational quotes that I have ever read in sport and what I think is the real meaning of sport. And once again, it is from Vince Lombardi. He says, "I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, that greatest fulfillment of all that he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out with his brethren in common cause and lies exhausted on the field of battle victorious." I find this to be the most inspirational definition of the meaning of sport. But not only do I find it inspirational, more importantly, I know it's true. I know the feeling after winning 2 Stanley Cup championships. It was a state of euphoria you cannot describe. I often thought afterwards why that feeling is so seldom replicated anywhere else in life. But then I remembered what a smart man told me a long time ago. He said, "Dean, true happiness is being happy for someone else. That happiness that doesn't have the slightest trace of envy." And that's what happens when you lie on a field exhausted after exerting maximum effort in common cause. That's what happens when you hug each other after a Stanley Cup championship win. You are truly happy for the teammate you are hugging. If this happiness is in fact real happiness, and we embrace this notion, what would happen if each one of us took this quote to heart in whatever endeavor we wish to pursue? Safe to say that if all of us applied one of sport's most signature mantras to our everyday life, this world would surely be a better place.